You played an NSFW video at your own wedding. At first, the relatives and friends thought you were just being edgy. But looking closer, they realized the female lead in the video was today's bride, Shen Qingyao. The male lead, however, wasn't you. While everyone was reeling from the shock, they noticed the bride hadn't even arrived yet. Under the bewildered gazes of every guest, you held a microphone in one hand and dialed Shen Qingyao with the other. She didn't pick up the first time. Not discouraged, you called again. After a few rings, it finally connected. Clunking sounds could be clearly heard from the other end. The guests could even hear the roar of an engine. Everyone started whispering. Why was Shen Qingyao driving away? Was the eldest miss of the Shen family pulling a runaway bride? You asked calmly, where are you? Why did you leave? Shen Qingyao said impatiently, I have something important to handle. We can reschedule the engagement ceremony later. What important thing could be more important than our own engagement ceremony? Shen Qingyao's annoyed and impatient voice came through the phone. I said, we'll reschedule. I'm driving. I have to go. You think you can just reschedule whenever you want? What do you take this venue and these guests who traveled from afar for? What do you take my Gu family for? I prepared for this for 6 months and you think a reschedule fixes everything? Finally, you spoke even at the cost of your own reputation. Reschedule with whom? Am I even still the groom? The entire hall went dead silent. Shen Qingyao was startled, wondering if this was still that simp king Gu Chengze. Gu Chengze, what nonsense are you talking? Are you trying to back out of the marriage? I think the one backing out is me. I told you, I have to rush to the hospital. Someone is waiting for me to save their life there. You chuckled. Are you a doctor? You going there is going to save lives? Then tell me, who is lying in that hospital? Are they dying right now? Can it not wait a single second? You had to leave right during the ceremony? The guests and even the Shen family were puzzled. At such a critical moment, who had such charm? To make the famously cold Miss Shen leave her own engagement and drive to the hospital herself? Then Shen Qingyao said coldly, my assistant, Lu Chen. Hearing those 3 words, the crowd erupted. Lu Chen, isn't that President Shen's assistant? She hired him personally right after graduation. Word is this Lu Chen is a total pretty boy who is inseparable from Miss Shen, acting like besties. What elite family has a male bestie? Seeing the gossip spreading, the Shen family matriarch, Shen Shuhua, couldn't sit still. She immediately sent people to snatch your phone, but you had already hired 200 tough guys for $10 each to guard the stage. You continued. What happened to him? Is it a cold and fever this time, or did he get hit by a bicycle? I've always doubted your relationship. Who is the real boss here? If he's just a tiny assistant, why does he make you abandon your fiancé to serve him hand and foot? Gu Chengze, can you stop being so cynical? He is my assistant and my friend. Disrespecting him is disrespecting me. Hearing this, your heart sank. Right. Do you know the cost of disrespecting this assistant? Your family ruined and you dead in the street. You died young in your past life exactly because of Lu Chen. Having been reborn, you were determined to make this scum couple notorious forever. Making them famous was just the start. Thinking this, you spoke. Seems like this friend is more important than your fiancé. Since that's the case, make a choice. Me or Lu Chen, who do you pick? Shen Qingyao didn't expect you to trap her like this. To her, Lu Chen was like a brother. Your suspicion was just disgusting. Answer me, who do you pick? You remained aggressive. Shen Qingyao compared the two in her heart. She realized Lu Chen understood her better and always followed her lead. She blurted out, Lu Chen! Then hung up and sped toward the hospital. But the moment she said it, her heart skipped a beat as if someone extremely important was leaving her life. Meanwhile, the guests heard her choice. No one defended her anymore. Her ice goddess filter was shattered. Old Madame Shen felt unprecedented shame. She hated Shen Qingyao for being useless and you for being merciless by making a scene. She immediately called the Shen family servants. Go find that unfilial daughter. If that Lu Chen dies, so be it. If he isn't dead, run him over for real. At the same time, Shen Qingyao had already reached the hospital. She was wearing a pure white wedding dress. Running through the hallways, no one had ever seen a bride in full gown at a hospital. Everyone was speculating on the situation. Some romance-brained girls already imagined a tragic accident, guessing this beauty's boyfriend was terminally ill and wouldn't last the night, so she came in her dress to see him one last time. Thinking this, some girls took photos and posted them online. In your past life, it was because this went viral that you carried the cuckold reputation forever once identities were leaked. In the past life, after Shen Qingyao ran away, the Shens punished her and tried to deal with Lu Chen, but she protected him by threatening suicide. And you, being a simp, naturally chose to forgive them. The internet keyboard warriors twisted your love into the arrogance of a rich brat, saying you stole her away and used family power to force her to marry you, breaking up Shen Qingyao and Lu Chen. Meanwhile, Lu Chen lived like a manhwa MC, resilient and deeply in love with Shen Qingyao despite his grievances. In everyone's eyes, you were the evil villain. Shen Qingyao knew all of this, but she never defended you once, only caring about Lu Chen's reputation. She never had you in her heart. Back at the wedding venue, Gu Chengze held the mic and said with a heavy tone, "Since Miss Shen has made her choice, I will grant her wish." Shen Shuhua suddenly felt an omen of dread. She made up her mind to stop Gu Chengze no matter what. She dragged her elderly body to the front of the stage to intervene. Shen Shuhua hurriedly grabbed Gu Chengze. "Chengze, don't do this. Let's talk as a family behind closed doors. Yao Er is young and lost her head. We will discipline her." Staring at the woman he had called grandma for over 20 years, Gu Chengze felt a bit dazed. The Gu family had few heirs. His grandparents died before he was born, and his parents died in an accident during high school. He was the sole survivor, back when Chengze was unable to manage the Gu family estate. It was the Shen family who stepped in to look after him, giving him a long-lost feeling of warmth. Shen Shuhua treated him well enough, but Gu Chengze knew better now. Everything the Shen family did always had a clear motive. In the past 6 years, the industries that originally belonged to the Gu family had been completely swallowed up by the Shens. Being reborn, Gu Chengze vowed in his heart he would never let the tragedy of the Gu family being devoured happen again. Gu Chengze's words were ice cold. "Head of the Shen family, your name is Shen and mine is Gu. Where does this one family talk come from?" Shen Shuhua froze. She never expected the usually filial and obedient grandson-in-law to speak so ruthlessly, as if he were a different person. Recovering, Shen Shuhua pulled her elder's rank, shouting with authority, "Chengze, I've been your grandma for 20 years. How dare you speak to me like that? Come here and listen to me. Sorry, from the moment your granddaughter made her choice, your grandson-in-law isn't me, but Lu Chen." Gu Chengze's tone didn't change. "I'm speaking to you as the head of the Gu family. Do you still think my tone is inappropriate?" Shen Qingyao's choice wasn't just a personal romantic preference. She had clearly thrown the Gu family's dignity on the ground and trampled it without hesitation. Looking at this new Gu Chengze, Shen Shuhua knew playing the emotional card was useless. Gu Chengze slowly turned to the guests. With a slight look of apology, he spoke. "Sorry, everyone, for coming all this way only for my engagement to turn into a farce." After a pause, he continued, "I'll say it again. Since Miss Shen's heart belongs to someone else, I won't be the villain who tears them apart. From today on, I, Gu Chengze, officially break my engagement with Shen Qingyao. From now on, our paths are separate and we have nothing to do with each other." As soon as he finished, he added, "Furthermore, please pass a message to Miss Shen Qingyao for me. I once naively thought our love could overcome all obstacles, but reality gave me a cruel slap. Some paths must be walked alone." Gu Chengze gripped the microphone and made a firm declaration. "I officially announce that the engagement is cancelled." Gu Chengze! His former father-in-law, Qian Jiuan, suddenly intervened, roaring as he rushed onto the stage. "I don't agree. Gu Chengze, you have no right to make this decision. I object." He blocked Gu Chengze with a face full of fury. Gu Chengze asked coldly, "Mr. Qian, on what grounds do you object?" His voice was calm but firm. "Your daughter chose true love. Am I supposed to illegally imprison her? My upbringing won't allow that." His words were a clear jab. The Shens lacked upbringing, which is why they raised such an impulsive woman. Shen Qingyao hadn't broken the law, but cheating while engaged had already crossed the moral red line. Qian Chuan wouldn't give up, lowering himself to beg, "Chengze, Qingyao surely didn't know this choice would cancel the engagement. She'd come back if she knew. Just give her one more chance." Seeing Qian Chuan's pathetic begging, Gu Chengze's lips curled into a sneer as he shook his head. "Mr. Qian, how do you know I didn't give her a chance? She cut her own path. There's no turning back." With that, he turned to the Gu family butler, Uncle Zhao. "There's an email I received yesterday with some photos. Please project them onto the big screen behind me." The guests were hyped, expecting some major drama. The Shens turned pale. Shen Shuhua's heart tightened, but she could only watch as the Gu family security held the area. A moment later, photos of Shen Qingyao and Lu Chen appeared on the screen. In the photos, she was leaning intimately against Lu Chen, smiling sweetly, a look she never showed in public. Everyone remembered that whenever Shen Qingyao was with Gu Chengze, only Gu Chengze was smiling while she remained expressionless. The contrast was blinding. The hall erupted instantly. One photo might not mean much, but the following timestamped photos pushed Shen Qingyao into a storm of shame. One photo showed Lu Chen walking into a hotel room. The one opening the door was Shen Qingyao. She pulled him in with a smile and closed the door. It was enough to make anyone's imagination run wild. Another photo showed her seeing him out. He had been in the room for over an hour. That duration made things look even more suspicious. In that hour, Shen Qingyao had changed clothes. She started in normal clothes, but ended up in a bathrobe. When Lu Chen left, her hair was damp and her face was visibly flushed. Anyone with life experience knew exactly what had happened in that hour. The gossip grew louder. Miss Shen was actually cheating with her assistant. With this solid proof, the Shens couldn't argue. Everyone wondered why she picked Lu Chen. Suddenly, Su Nianian, who had been silent, lashed out. She smashed her wine glass on the floor and shouted, "Shen Qingyao has some nerve. Send people to find her and bring her back." Su Nianian was fuming. She snarled, "A woman this shameless doesn't deserve to marry into the Gu family. What does she think our family is? A playground she can trample on?" Su Nianian was 28, tall and stunning in a black evening gown. She was the Gu family's adopted daughter. 6 years ago, at just 22, she took over the multi-billion-dollar Gu empire, developing a powerful Ice Queen aura. Even after venting, she still felt angry and started walking out with her men, clearly intending to catch Shen Qingyao herself. On stage, Chengze saw this and quickly stopped her. "Sister, don't go. Don't be impulsive. Listen to me. I'll handle this. You don't need to do it yourself." In the past, because Shen Qingyao didn't like her, Chengze had distanced himself from Su Nianian. Thinking back, it had been years since he last called her sister. Su Nianian's voice had a slight tremor as she replied, "Okay, I won't go. I'll listen to you." She turned back to her seat, eyes tearing up as she looked at Gu Chengze, her heart full of joy. To her, even if Shen Qingyao humiliated the Gu family, it meant Gu Chengze was finally free of that woman. Their relationship could finally return to how it used to be. The only thing she resented was Shen Qingyao getting off too easy. She vowed in her heart to make her pay later. After calming Su Nianian, Gu Chengze pointed to the screen and said to Qian Qiwan, "Mr. Qian, seeing this, you should know what I mean. Your objection is invalid." He added flatly, "Besides, your new son-in-law is currently in the hospital. I think you should go and care for him instead." Gu Chengze's tone shifted as he looked at Shen Shuhua. "Oh, and head of the Shen family, if the third generation of Shens wanted a live-in son-in-law, you should have said so earlier. I would have backed out in time to avoid today's joke." Every guest was stunned. No one expected Gu Chengze to be this calm. Facing such a massive insult to his pride, he had no emotional breakdown, as if it didn't even involve him. Everyone in the younger generation of Hangzhou knew Gu Chengze loved Shen Qingyao obsessively. This love had lasted 20 years since they were childhood friends. He would have given her the world just for a smile. Qian Qiwan didn't want to lose such an elite son-in-law. He leaned in and whispered, "Chengze, in high society, we all play in our own ways. She's been with you so long, you can't just dump her." He then tried to bribe him. "She was just confused once, forgive her. Marrying her means owning half the Shen family assets. If not for love, do it for the wealth. Don't cancel the engagement." Looking at his former father-in-law, Gu Chengze couldn't believe his audacity. He had been a cuckold once in his past life. Being reborn, there was no way he'd take that humiliation twice. Gu Chengze scoffed with disdain. "Money? The Gu family is the last place that lacks money. I don't need Shen family scraps." He paused, looking over the crowd. "Perfect. I have a second announcement." Holding the mic, he declared firmly, "From today on, the Gu family officially terminates all cooperation with the Shen family. No exceptions." "What? Absolutely not!" Qian Qiwan was stunned, and Shen Shuhua's legs gave out, nearly falling. With the Gu family ending cooperation publicly, the massive orders the Shens held had nowhere to go. This severing the roots move was precise and brutal, cutting off their cash flow. Shen Shuhua's blood pressure spiked. Her vision went black and she fainted. "Quick, get the old madame to the hospital." The Shens scrambled to help her and retreated from the scene in total chaos. Qian Qiwan shook his head and followed them dejectedly. Within moments, every member of the Shen family had fled Gu Manor in disgrace. Gu Chengze spoke warmly, to take control of the crowd. "Everyone, the farce is over. Although the engagement can't proceed, the banquet is still on. Please stay for dinner." He turned to Uncle Zhao. "Please arrange for all gifts sent by guests to be returned. Also, prepare an extra gift from the Gu family as an apology to everyone." The guests looked at the elegant and well-spoken Gu heir with admiration. Facing his fiancée's cheating, he didn't hide or lose his temper. he stayed calm and ended everything cleanly. The socialites in the audience now looked at Gu Chengze with sparkling eyes. Marrying into the Gu family was, after all, the ultimate dream of countless women. Gu Chengze walked to Su Nianian and said guiltily, "Sister, these years I left the whole company to you. You've worked so hard. Thank you." With determination, he said, "From tomorrow, I'm officially coming to work at the company. It's time to clean out all the pests hiding inside." Su Nianian's voice choked up, her eyes reddening. "Chengze, are you really awake now? No more obsession?" Gu Chengze nodded firmly. "Yeah, I should have seen the Shen family for what they are earlier. Luckily, it's not too late to fix things." He lamented inwardly. In his past life, he finished the ceremony alone, married Shen Qingyao 6 months later, and gave her all his shares just to keep her. He even handed over generations of Gu family wealth, only to be met with betrayal. He ended up with nothing, abandoned by everyone, dying alone in the old Gu mansion. A truly tragic end. Su Nianian nodded vigorously. With a glimmer of hope in her eyes, she said, "Yes, it's not late. It was just a verbal engagement, nothing too deep. We can fix everything." Gu Chengze calmed her down. "All right, sister, let's talk more at the office tomorrow." As he spoke, the band changed the music and the engagement decorations were quickly cleared. Gu Chengze held a wine glass and moved gracefully through the guests, toasting them one by one. His behavior was perfect and courteous, giving every guest the respect they deserved. Suddenly, a booming voice rang out. "Chengze, a real man has ambitions everywhere. You're so outstanding, you definitely deserve a better woman." The one speaking was none other than Zhou Dechang, head of the Zhou family, one of the 5 great families of Hangzhou. The Zhous were second only to the Gus in power. Zhou Dechang wasn't being sincere. Everyone else avoided the topic, but he dared to mention it publicly, clearly trying to mock and humiliate the Gu family. Gu Chengze saw right through him but responded calmly. "Uncle Zhou is right. Thank you for the advice." Then he shifted his tone. "It's just that having too many wives isn't always good. It leads to a chaotic household and constant infighting." After saying this, he took a sip of his wine and walked away without looking back, giving Zhou Dechang zero face. Zhou Dechang's face turned green with rage. He knew exactly what Gu Chengze meant. It was a jab at his multiple mistresses and lack of family discipline. He was over 70, same generation as Shen Shuhua, but notoriously lecherous. Unlike the Gu family's low heir count, the Zhou family was huge, with dozens of descendants. His eldest son already had grandkids, yet a year ago he had another son with a mistress. Now, all 5 branches of the Zhou family were plotting against each other for the inheritance. Gu Chengze then walked toward the Zheng family. Unlike the Zhous, the Zhengs were very polite. Old man Zheng Guan personally brought his granddaughter, Zheng Yunshu, to greet him warmly. Zheng Guan was even older than Shen Shuhua. His hair was white as snow and he was slightly hunched, but his spirit was sharp and his eyes were full of life. His granddaughter, Zheng Yunshu, was one of the 4 golden flowers of Hangzhou, a legendary beauty with an aura that stood out. Countless heirs pursued her. If they stood in line, they'd wrap around the West Lake 10 times. She was a year older than Gu Chengze, but remained single and unengaged. Facing old man Zheng, Gu Chengze showed the respect of a junior. He toasted him first, then politely clinked glasses with Zheng Yunshu, keeping his distance and manners perfect. Gu Chengze said, sincerely, "Old man Zheng, I'm truly sorry you had to witness this farce personally today. I feel deeply ashamed." Zheng Guan smiled warmly. "Chengze, don't be a stranger. Your parents were my dear friends. How could I not come for your big day? I wouldn't be able to face them in the afterlife otherwise." Gu Chengze sighed with guilt. Today was a mess. I'll personally visit your home soon to properly apologize." Zheng Guan nodded. "A visit would be best. You haven't visited much since your parents passed. Stop calling me old man. Just call me Grandpa Zheng like you did as a kid." Gu Chengze immediately complied. "Grandpa Zheng." Zheng Guan was delighted and waved him off. "Go on, don't worry about us too." As Gu Chengze walked away, Zheng Guan turned to his granddaughter and asked softly, "Yunshu, what do you think of this kid? Is he worthy of your life?" Zheng Yunshu pondered for a moment. She replied slowly, "Grandpa, all I can say is he has a very deep mind. His calmness is almost intimidating. The Gu family being the top in Hangzhou is no fluke. Shen Qingyao really threw away a watermelon for a pebble." Zheng Guan laughed out loud. "Ha ha ha, your insight is excellent. If I hadn't been a step late, the Shen family wouldn't have snatched that engagement first. You should have been the mistress of the Gu family." His tone turned serious as he looked at her. "But it's not too late. Yunshu, if I asked you to win over Gu Chengze and stay by his side, would you be willing? Zheng Yunshu didn't expect her grandpa to suggest this. Her cheeks instantly flushed, and she lowered her head. Her silence was a silent agreement to the proposal. The night quickly swept across the sky, and before long it was already 8 or 9 p.m. The guests had all departed, and the massive Gu Manor finally regained its usual silence. The two returned to the living room and sat quietly by the sobering tea, and suffocating pressure filled the air. Su Nianian was the first to break the silence. Chengze, are you really letting this go? That bitch Shen Qingyao actually dared to treat you like that. I seriously can't swallow this. Su Nianian's emotions grew more heated, her eyes reddening as tears began to fall. Gu Chengze finally dropped all pretenses. It felt as if all his strength had been instantly drained, and he slumped weakly into the chair, devoid of any energy. In his past life, Gu Chengze had endured today's humiliation. He restrained himself all the way and eventually married Shen Qingyao. But on their wedding night, Lu Chen pulled his old tricks again, falling into the water after getting blackout drunk. Upon hearing the news, Shen Qingyao rushed to Lu Chen's house and stayed by his side all night. It wasn't until the following evening that she slowly made her way back to the wedding suite she shared with Gu Chengze. That night, Gu Chengze didn't close his eyes once, but every time his gaze landed on Shen Qingyao's face, all the resentment and indignation in his heart were forcibly suppressed and swallowed back down. After the marriage, Shen Qingyao was almost never home. Since taking over the Shen and Gu family industries, she was busy every day, constantly traveling for business. What's worse was that she took Lu Chen on every single business trip. They were together day and night, inseparable. Their intimacy was actually more intense than that of a real married couple. Su Nianian saw all of this and was anxious for him. She often cried while advising Gu Chengze, pleading with him to take back the shares from Shen Qingyao and divorce her early. But back then, Gu Chengze was already hopelessly in love with Shen Qingyao. No matter how people around him advised him, he ignored them all and continued his ways. One day, 3 years into the marriage, he returned home after drinking with some friends. As soon as he pushed open the door, he caught Shen Qingyao and Lu Chen tightly embracing and passionately kissing on his own wedding bed. A sky-high rage instantly blinded his reason. He rushed forward and tore them apart, then proceeded to punch and kick Lu Chen, venting the fury in his heart. What he never expected was that to protect Lu Chen, Shen Qingyao actually grabbed a nearby vase and smashed it hard against his head. He crashed to the ground, blood immediately spreading and blurring his vision. He only saw Shen Qingyao frantically checking on Lu Chen's condition, while she completely ignored him lying on the floor. In the end, he fell into a coma due to excessive blood loss and became a total vegetable. From then on, Shen Qingyao disappeared completely. Gu Chengze never heard a single piece of news about her again. Only Su Nianian stayed by his side from beginning to end. Every day, she sat by his bed, telling him about small things in the outside world, helping him survive those long and agonizing days. Meanwhile, Shen Qingyao and Lu Chen still appeared in public as a couple, acting very flashy. Not long after, Shen Qingyao actually returned to the wedding house once, but she only came for one thing, to kick Gu Chengze out of there. She completely shut him out. Afterward, Gu Chengze was sent back to the Gu family's old mansion. To take proper care of him, Su Nianian decisively quit her job and stayed by his bed day and night. But even after bringing in famous doctors from all over the country, they could never wake him up. In her despair, Su Nianian chose an extreme form of revenge, secretly sending someone to beat Lu Chen into a vegetative state as well. When Shen Qingyao found out Su Nianian was the culprit, she was furious. She immediately led a group into the Gu mansion and, right under Gu Chengze's nose, forcibly took Su Nianian away. From then on, Gu Chengze never heard Su Nianian's voice again. It wasn't until the 8th year that the Shen family officially took over the Gu mansion, and he was heartlessly sent to a nursing home. Due to the lack of specialized care, his body gradually decayed, and he finally passed away in the nursing home, lonely and miserable. Recalling those 10 dark years from his past life, a mountain of hatred surged in Gu Chengze's heart. He wanted to seize Shen Qingyao and Lu Chen immediately, skinning them alive to quench his rage. But he also knew that since heaven gave him a chance to be reborn, he couldn't be as reckless and impulsive as before. He owed Su Nianian too much and had failed the entire Gu family. He would never throw away his own life to be buried with those two scumbags. Gu Chengze took a deep breath and slowly spoke to comfort Su Nianian. "Sister, I definitely won't let this go. I'm going to make the entire Shen family pay a heavy price for her choice today." Gu Chengze shifted his tone and asked, "What do you think is the most precious thing to a woman?" Without waiting for Su Nianian to answer, Gu Chengze gave the answer himself. Reputation. Especially for a highborn daughter like Shen Qingyao, reputation is the top priority. Today, I'm going to make the photos of her cheating public. While this move might be a double-edged sword, once the photos are exposed, Shen Qingyao's life is ruined. She can forget about marrying into any elite family. Moreover, to protect their own reputation, the Shen family will never tolerate her continuing to mess around with Lu Chen. By then, we won't even need to lift a finger. The Shen family will take care of those two themselves. Gu Chengze gripped his teacup so hard his knuckles turned white, his voice full of cold ruthlessness. And us? We just need to focus all our energy on dealing with the Shen family. I'm going to make them fall into the abyss. His eyes were full of violence and ferocity, emitting a murderous aura. Su Nianian had never seen Gu Chengze like this. It felt like he had become a different person. But then she thought any man facing such betrayal would find it hard to stay calm. Su Nianian immediately nodded in response. All right, Chengze, I'm always on your side. The Gu family is your most solid and reliable backer. Su Nianian slowly walked to Gu Chengze's side and raised her hand to gently stroke his forehead. Her movements were as tender as they were when they were children. A wave of warmth instantly filled Gu Chengze's heart. He remembered how, after he became a vegetable in his past life, Su Nianian would come every day to take care of him, turning him over and massaging him personally without ever slacking. Past memories came rushing back. Gu Chengze could no longer restrain himself. He stood up and pulled Su Nianian into a tight embrace. He vowed in his heart, in this life, he would never let Su Nianian down again. She was the only person he wanted to protect. He leaned his head gently against Su Nianian's neck. This regained warmth was too precious, instantly shattering all his psychological defenses. Gu Chengze couldn't help but burst into tears. Su Nianian was startled by the sudden hug, her body momentarily freezing up. She realized they hadn't hugged like this since they grew up. Everyone knew Gu Chengze was practically raised by Su Nianian. As a child, he always followed behind her like a little shadow. Hearing his sobs, Su Nianian mistakenly thought he was still heartbroken over Shen Qingyao. Her heart trembled slightly, and she gently reached out to hold him. She comforted her crybaby brother just like when they were kids. After a good cry, the resentment accumulated over the years was finally vented. Gu Chengze's spirit felt much better. His eyes regained some spark in life. Gu Chengze wiped the tears from his face and said, "Sister, you should rest early. We have to go to the company tomorrow. There's a lot to handle." As soon as he finished, he turned toward the door. "Where are you going?" Su Nianian hurriedly called out, her face full of confusion. "It's so late. Why are you going out?" Gu Chengze replied, "Sister, I'm going to the wedding house. I have to take some things back. Those are my parents' mementos. I definitely can't leave them with Shen Qingyao." Knowing Gu Chengze wasn't regretting his decision or going to find Shen Qingyao, Su Nianian's heart finally settled. She didn't ask further and immediately arranged men to escort him. Watching his departing back, a cold arc formed at the corner of Su Nianian's mouth. She gave a soft snort. It's time to settle the score with the Shens. She was never just a fragile flower. Being able to handle the Gu family affairs alone at 22 and keep it standing firm spoke volumes about her ability. In his past life, if Gu Chengze hadn't blindly indulged Shen Qingyao and forcibly stripped her of her power, the Shens would never have had the chance to seize the Gu assets or take her away. Tianhai Pavilion was a villa district developed by the Shen family. Gu Chengze and Shen Qingyao's wedding house was located here. Gu Chengze pushed open the door and walked straight in. Looking at the familiar yet strange room, complex emotions and a heavy sadness instantly surged within him. Originally, Gu Chengze planned to live in the Gu family mansion after the wedding, but Shen Qingyao opposed it. She felt the mansion's Jiangnan garden style was too old-fashioned and the layout didn't suit her. She also thought it was too big and too quiet, lacking any sense of human warmth. Just then, the Tianhai Pavilion project developed by the Shens was officially completed. Shen Qingyao had Gu Chengze buy Villa number 1 here as their wedding home. As the king of the district, this villa cost a full 100 million. Because Gu Chengze took the lead in buying, the once stagnant development suddenly came back to life and became a hot commodity. Gu Chengze's wealthy friends saw this and also bought properties here. After all, everyone wanted to get closer to the Gu family's influence. During the subsequent renovations, Gu Chengze invested another 50 million. The entire style was strictly tailored to Shen Qingyao's tastes. It took 6 months. Gu Chengze supervised the entire process himself. In his heart, this was the home where he and Shen Qingyao would spend their lives. Not even a single flaw could exist. But he never imagined that all the effort and heart he put in would end up benefiting Lu Chen. At this thought, Gu Chengze felt like a knife was twisting in his heart, and he suddenly coughed up blood. He was already mentally exhausted from grief, and now he could no longer hold on, collapsing straight onto the floor. At Hangzhou Central Hospital, Shen Qingyao was completely unaware of the storm outside. She was guarding Lu Chen's bedside, her hands tightly clutching his, her face full of heartache. Fortunately, Lu Chen's injuries weren't serious. He was out of danger. He didn't end up a mangled mess like his mother. Lu Chen only had superficial wounds, though he had been knocked unconscious and still hadn't woken up. Shen Qingyao had been at the bedside for over 2 hours without even blinking. She had no idea about the disaster at the Gu family, nor did she realize she had become a celebrity in Hangzhou, though not in a good way. Earlier, the scene of her rushing into the hospital in her wedding dress to find Lu Chen had been filmed and posted online. Initially, the online discourse was all praise for their epic love story. Under the uploader's deliberate framing, she became a devoted woman in a wedding dress seeing her fiancé for the last time. Rumors said she did it to fulfill his wish of getting married. Netizens seeing this marveled at her beauty and praised the undying love between the two. This girl is too beautiful. Her looks are on par with Liu Yifei. Whoever marries her is blessed for 8 lifetimes. Right? Running straight to the hospital in a wedding dress. This is pure true love. Going all out for love. I believe in romance again. This kind of feeling is true devotion until death. But it didn't take long for the direction of public opinion to completely flip. Insiders who attended Gu Chengze's engagement and knew the truth spoke out online to reveal the facts. Bah! This is all nonsense. This woman's name is Shen Qingyao. She's the eldest miss of the Shen family. The man in the hospital is her assistant Lu Chen. Tonight was supposed to be her engagement to Gu Chengze, but she abandoned her fiancé at the venue and ran to the hospital in her dress to see her secret lover. He's not a boyfriend at all. You people are actually blessing this trash couple? I must be blind. I'm about to cough blood from anger. Besides that, they attached photos of the engagement scene. Gu Chengze was standing alone in the center of the stage, while the screen behind him clearly displayed intimate photos of her and Lu Chen. These photos completely solidified the fact that Shen Qingyao cheated with Lu Chen. The tide turned completely. After this netizen spoke up, more insiders exposed even more details. Shen Qingyao was oblivious to the uproar. She turned off her phone upon entering the hospital. Firstly, because constant calls were coming in and she didn't want to disturb Lu Chen. And secondly, she really didn't know how to explain this to her family yet. She just turned it off for peace. In her eyes, Gu Chengze just couldn't accept it for a moment. She could calm him down with a few explanations when she got back. As long as Gu Chengze wasn't angry and forgave her, the Shen family wouldn't blame her either. Later, when the time was right, she'd even make Gu Chengze apologize and propose all over again. They had been together for so many years, and it was always like this. No matter how far she pushed it, as long as she stood before Gu Chengze, he would always forgive her unconditionally. After all, she was the noble princess, and Gu Chengze was just her guardian knight. This sense of absolute arrogance was deeply ingrained in her bones. This time, she clearly miscalculated. While Shen Qingyao was still immersed in her beautiful fantasy, the ward door was suddenly kicked open. Shen Qingyao trembled in shock. Lu Chen on the bed also twitched but still didn't open his eyes. Worried that Gu Chengze might have found them, she didn't even notice Lu Chen's reaction. The person entering was Qian Qiwan. He walked in with several bodyguards, looking grim. After seeing who it was, Shen Qingyao's nerves relaxed. She asked coldly, "Why are you here?" There was no respect for her father in her voice. Qian Qiwan seemed used to this attitude and didn't get angry. He simply said, "Yao your grandmother fainted from rage. She's in the next ward. Go see her." Upon hearing this, Shen Qingyao immediately let go of Lu Chen's hand and stood up urgently. "What? Grandma fainted? Why didn't you tell me sooner?" It must be because Gu Chengze didn't handle things well that Grandma got this upset. Doesn't he know how to comfort her? Where is he? Did he come with you? I have to ask him what he's doing. Her words were full of blame toward Gu Chengze. She didn't even look at Qian Juan as she turned and walked out to find her grandmother. Qian Juan didn't mention the cancellation of the engagement. He just glanced coldly at Lu Chen on the bed with a contemptuous smirk. "Stop faking it. Your little tricks are things I played years ago." Lu Chen remained motionless as if still in a coma. "Fine. Keep faking then." Qian Juan had clearly seen through the act but didn't expose him on the spot. He turned to the bodyguards. "You two stay here. Watch him. Don't let him leave this room for 1 second." "Yes, sir!" After giving orders, Qian Juan turned and left. At that moment, Lu Chen's eyelids twitched slightly as if trying to peek at the situation. But as soon as he opened a crack, he saw the 2 burly shadows guarding the bed. He shuddered and quickly closed his eyes to continue faking the coma. Shen Qingyao reached the ward and saw the Shen family bodyguard standing outside the VIP room, looking solemn. Entering, she saw her grandmother unconscious on the bed. She burst into tears. Nanny Wang, what happened to Grandma? Why is she like this? Nanny Wang hesitated. She had been with the Shens for over 50 years and was very close to Shen Shuhua. She had also raised Shen Qingyao. She really didn't want to believe the young mistress would do something so bastardly. Nanny Wang sighed. Miss, the old madam fainted from extreme rage. It's not serious. She'll be okay in a bit. Just then, Shen Shuhua slowly opened her eyes. Nanny Wang rushed to help her up. Shen Qingyao also stepped in to help, her voice full of complaint. Grandma, are you okay? How do you feel? Where is Gu Chengze? You fainted and he didn't even follow you here? Shen Qingyao didn't mention her running away at all. Instead, she righteously thought Gu Chengze hadn't cared for her grandmother, even resenting that he wasn't at the hospital. Unexpectedly, Shen Shuhua pushed her away, her voice full of disgust. Get away from me. I don't have a granddaughter like you. Only then did Shen Qingyao realize the truth was out, but she still looked unbothered. Grandma, what are you saying? It's just an engagement ceremony. We can just do it again later. I'll explain things to Gu Chengze. I'll call him now and have him come apologize to you. Shen Qingyao pulled out her phone and turned it on to call Gu Chengze. Shen Shuhua immediately stopped her. She knew Shen Qingyao was still oblivious to the storm outside. Contacting Gu Chengze now would only make things worse. He had already publicly announced the breakup. If Shen Qingyao called with that attitude, it would be counterproductive and completely enrage him, leaving zero room for reconciliation. Don't call yet. Listen to what I have to say. Shen Qingyao never dared to defy her grandmother, so she obediently put away the phone. Okay, Grandma, tell me. Shen Shuhua leaned against the bed and told Nanny Wang to leave and close the door. After she left, the grandmother and granddaughter were alone. Shen Shuhua's expression changed instantly. She exploded in rage, shouting at Shen Qingyao, Do you even know what you've done? Do you think I'm too old to control you? You dared to do something so disgraceful to our family name. You've thrown away the face of the Shen family for generations. Shen Qingyao trembled, tears of grievance pouring out. Confused, she had no idea what she did wrong to make her grandmother this angry. Grandma, what did I do for you to scold me like this? How did I disgrace the family name? How did you disgrace it? You have the nerve to ask me? Tell me, who's it into the next ward? With his status, does he even deserve to lie in a top-floor VIP room? Shen Shuhua got angrier as she spoke, though she was still trying to save some face for her granddaughter. If it were anyone else, she would have started cursing without restraint. Even though they weren't married, the engagement made them a public couple. Her actions were a complete violation of wifely duty. In the era Shen Shuhua grew up in, a woman acting like this would have been put in a wicker cage and drowned in the river to atone. Shen Qingyao was stunned by the question. She had never revealed Lu Chen's existence to her family. Except for Gu Chengze, everyone thought he was just an assistant. A feeling of betrayal rose in her heart. Grandma, how did you know Lu Chen was here? Did Gu Chengze tell you? How could he? I told him clearly that Lu Chen and I have nothing going on. He's just my assistant. He's being so petty. Shen Shuhua laughed in anger. Assistant? What kind of assistant makes you flee your own engagement? And what kind of assistant makes a CEO stay by his bedside during hospitalization? What kind of boss and assistant dynamic is that? Who would believe that? Do you take everyone in the world for a fool? Facing this barrage of questions, Shen Qingyao completely panicked, not knowing how to explain her relationship with Lu Chen, but in her heart, she was sure. It wasn't romance. To her, Lu Chen was more like non-blood family. But would Grandma believe that? Right now, only Gu Chengze could fix this. If he stood up and explained for her, Grandma would definitely believe him. She took out her phone again to call Gu Chengze. Shen Shuhua saw but didn't stop her, simply saying, Don't waste your energy. Chengze won't pick up your call now. Shen Qingyao didn't believe it and dialed. But Gu Chengze really didn't answer. In the past, this was impossible. He always picked up within 3 seconds. Today, she called 3 times. And it just kept ringing. Sigh, my granddaughter, I'll tell you the truth. Shen Shuhua sighed and began to speak. Shen Shuhua's voice was full of emotion as she recounted everything that happened after Shen Qingyao left, from Gu Chengze giving her a choice on the phone to him canceling the engagement in public. She left out no details. She hadn't even mentioned the intimate photos yet. And Shen Qingyao was already on the verge of a breakdown. Hearing about the public breakup, Shen Qingyao was dazed, her face full of disbelief. Impossible. He loves me so much, how could he cancel our engagement? No, I have to go find him and ask what he means. How does he dare do this? As she spoke, she turned to rush out. Get back here. Shen Shuhua barked. What's the use of going now? Seeing that her granddaughter didn't even know right from wrong, she realized her education of her had failed. This was clearly Shen Qingyao's fault. Gu Chengze just stopped enabling her. Now, tell me honestly, what is your relationship with that boy next door? How far has it gone? Stunned by the question, Shen Qingyao's eyes darted around. She hesitated before speaking. Grandma, what are you saying? What could I possibly have with Lu Chen? You have to believe me. We're really just colleagues. At most, we're friends. Don't listen to Gu Chengze's nonsense. When I said I chose Lu Chen on the phone, I just meant coming to the hospital first. I didn't mean picking him over Gu Chengze. How could I give up Gu Chengze? That's impossible. This was actually the truth. She had been pressured by Gu Chengze and blurted it out in a heat of passion. Thinking about it now, it was indeed a bad thing to say. Gu Chengze had clearly dug a pit for her to jump into. But Shen Shuhua didn't believe a word of it. She saw through the excuses and her disappointment reached its peak. Even at this stage, her granddaughter wouldn't tell the truth. Shen Shuhua's chest hurt from anger, making it hard to breathe. Shen Qingyao, you still won't tell the truth? Even I don't believe your excuses, let alone all the guests who were there. You need to understand that tonight's guests were all big shots. Many of them are business partners. If the cheating is proven, you can't even imagine the losses the Shen family will suffer. Shen Qingyao asked in shock, Cheating? What cheating? Who told you that? Without explaining, Shen Shuhua took out her phone and sent her the photos of her and Lu Chen. Shen Qingyao opened the photos and her eyes widened in horror. Where did you get these? Who took these photos? Don't worry about where I got them. I'm telling you, regardless of whether anything happened between you two, that Lu Chen is a dead man. Even if the Gu family doesn't act, my Shen family will never keep him. He is the biggest stain on your path, a shame you'll never wipe away. Shen Qingyao was still replaying the photos in her head. Hearing that grandma was going to kill Lu Chen, she rushed forward to stop her. You can't touch him! I won't allow it! If you dare touch a single hair on his head, you'll have to kill me first. Seeing her protect Lu Chen like this, Shen Shuhua's heart went cold. She had a bad feeling. Her granddaughter definitely had an improper relationship with him. Perhaps the two had already secretly committed to each other. Her body went limp as she collapsed on the bed, trembling with rage, unable to utter a single word. Shen Qingyao didn't even notice her grandmother's condition. Right now, her mind was full of the origin of those photos. She hurriedly asked, Grandma, how on earth do these photos exist? Ha ha, Shen Shuhua sneered. Now you know how to panic? When you were doing those shameless, stupid things, why didn't you think about today's consequences? Shen Qingyao was so anxious she became incoherent. Grandma, it's not like that. How could I not consider the Shen family? I really didn't do anything shameless. You must believe me. The old madam was already thoroughly disappointed in her. How could she still believe her excuses? Grandma, listen to my explanation. I remember now, these were taken when Lu Chen and I went on a business trip last week. That night, he only came to my room because of work. We were just discussing company business. Later, he accidentally spilled coffee on me, which is why I changed my clothes. You have to believe me. I was raised by you. How could I do such unspeakable things? Hearing her say this, Shen Shuhua was half convinced and half doubtful. The photos indeed didn't capture the scene inside the room, but a lone man and woman in a room late at night, with Shen Qingyao ending up in a bathrobe to see Lu Chen out, it looked suspicious no matter what. The more she thought about it, the more doubtful she became. Shen Qingyao's explanation simply couldn't hold water. It was impossible to make anyone believe it. Seeing that Grandma still didn't believe her, Shen Qingyao blurted out in desperation, Grandma, if you still don't believe me, we are in the hospital right now. Find a gynecologist to check and see if I'm still a virgin.